Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to do a ranking video of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I have been wanting to do this for a minute now because I watched them now it's been like months, but I've watched all of them in their entirety recently. I've never actually watched every single one in this franchise. I've kind of just seen the original one, and then I've seen the remake, and so yeah, I just wanted to kind of fill in those gaps of the ones that I have not seen from this franchise. And because I like ranking things so much, I thought, why not make a video of ranking all of the films? So let's go ahead and do that. As I already said, I am going to include the remake in this ranking, but I won't be including any of the Freddy versus Jason one, just because I just don't want to. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and get right on into it. So I'm going to start from the one that I like the least and work my way down to the one that I like the most. So in the number 8 spot, it is A Nightmare on Elm Street number 5, and that is The Dream Child. I just don't like. I feel like they were all and I feel like I don't like these three that I'm about to mention for kind of all pretty much the same reasons. I feel like they kind of stretch this story out too much. Like after Dream Warriors, I feel like all those dream related ones, they made it involving the same people and all that. I just feel like they kept going on with this part of Freddy's story longer than they had to, or that was necessary, because it kind of became a little bit repetitive and boring, and they just kind of kept repeating the same story over and over and over again. There was no real uniqueness to anything after that. They just kind of were like, okay, this formula worked for this movie, let's just keep on repeating that for these other ones. And I get it, most sequels are kind of like that, and that's how you get an audience to kind of like the movie again. But I felt like it was exactly the same. You have to change up some aspect of it, other than the actress that played Patricia Arquette's character, Kristen. You have to change up something. Give me new people. Give me some aspect of it that's new. But this one, it just felt like they were literally repeating the same thing over and over again. It's come on, I want something a little different. And honestly, I understand that this franchise is kind of more on the goofier side, and they have a lot of corny, punny, goofy moments. But I just could not stand it after when I got to, 5, I could not stand it anymore. And it was just over the top. And I feel like they were just trying to not even make it good punny or good corniness. They were just doing it for the sake of doing it. There was one specific scene that kind of really, I was just are you kidding me? It was the scene with Kristen's boyfriend, Dan, and how he was on the motorcycle. I think it was motorcycle. And I think he was kind of sleeping at the wheel type of deal or something like that. And Freddy was the motorcycle or something, and he was kind of meshing Dan into the motorcycle anyways, and making it so that Dan didn't have any control over this motorcycle. And just the whole time, this whole scene, Freddy was just saying random car or driving words, and it was just I don't know, it was stupid. And I was just are you for real right now? It's just it wasn't even good. It wasn't even a funny haha. It was just stupid. And that's why I cannot handle these ones. And don't me, I do love some humor in movies, but it's just I don't know, it was just over the top. Also, the whole just idea and concept of this too was just the unborn baby thing. It's do unborn babies even dream? I thought you had to have life experiences in order to dream, but I don't know. I guess I should have looked it up. I didn't think about that, but it's just I don't think babies or unborn fetuses are able to dream. I just don't think that's a thing, but I mean, hey, I could be wrong. What do I know? I think just overall, I felt like this movie would literally never end, and I was just felt like I was being tortured watching it. So next one, number 7 on my list, is A Nightmare on Elm Street. Number 4, Dream Master. So again, a lot of the same complaints that I have for 5 is the same what I have for 4. It was just again they were continuing this story of the Dream Warrior thing for a little bit longer than I felt was necessary. There was nothing unique about the story. If they would have maybe took a different spin on it, maybe I would have enjoyed it more, but I just felt like they were just literally trying to repeat the same thing. And my number 6 spot is the actual 6th film in this franchise, which is Freddys Dead Six, The Final Nightmare. So I didn't hate this film, but I also didn't love it either, or even really like it that much. It was cool that they were kind of switching things up a little bit and kind of changing the story a little bit and keeping it within the same universe and kind of like fitting it in within like Freddy's like own personal story. But I just feel like this film overall is kind of forgettable. So now we're gonna finally start getting into the ones that I actually kind of like and enjoyed. Those other ones I just could do without. And the number 5 spot for my list, my ranking, is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddys Revenge. I feel like I don't know how people feel about this one. I feel like I've seen some people say like this is kind of like a cult classic now, or they don't like it. So I feel like this kind of like either you like it or you don't like it. And I think I kind of like it. I just felt like this movie was kind of extremely wacky, and I think that's one reason why people might not like it, but that's the reason that I do like it. I like that it was kind of a completely different story from the first one. And you're just kind of going like WTF the whole time. Like I was like, what the hell is going on in this film? And like, it wasn't that it was like even like exceptionally like scary or anything like that. It was just like so out there that that's what was the entertaining aspect of it. That's what was holding my attention and making me kind of like enjoy what I was watching. Like I was entertained the whole time. And I also actually do like the idea of Freddy being the one to kind of possess somebody, and he's a killer that's possessing someone's body and doing like the killing and stuff like that. Like that's kind of, I thought like it was like a cool take from the first film, and a little bit different, but a little bit it's same, like, which is, I always think that that's a good mix to have, especially when you're coming out with like a sequel or like the second film in a franchise. And of course there are those comical scenes, but I think it works better in this because again, it was like the whole wackiness and like the WTF moments in there. And I think that's what made it entertaining. And I guess I guess I know that there is like some subtext in the film about like, Jesse being gay and like innuendos throughout the film. But yeah, I think for a sequel, it wasn't like 100% the best that there ever was out there. But I also think that for what it was a good film, and it was entertaining, and it had like, a good amount of gore in there. I liked it. I don't have really anything too bad to say about it. So number 4 on my list is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the 2010 one, which is the remake. I actually really like this movie as well. Again, I don't know what the reception was. I don't remember from that time. I mean, I was like fresh out of high school when this movie came out. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what the reception was for it or what people have to say about it or if they like it or if they don't like it. But I personally like it and enjoyed it. I think is extremely different from the whole franchise. Obviously, it's a lot darker and moodier and a little bit more serious than the other ones. And obviously, it's kind of was gearing for a completely different audience that the original franchise was kind of going for. But I guess I'm the audience because I really liked it. I thought I like the whole moodiness to scary films. I feel like that's the whole point of them, really. I just feel like it was an overall scarier film. And I actually do like the way that Freddy looked in this film. I feel like he looked a little bit scarier. I think the story in general was a little bit scarier. But yeah, I like things that are a little bit more on the serious side, and I just think it was a cool take on Freddy and this whole story and franchise, and I'm not mad at it. And the number 3 spot is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. It's actually kind of funny. I realized the number 6 spot was the 6th film, and this one is 3, and it's the 3rd film. But anyway, so yeah, this is Dream Warriors. I freaking love this one as well. I was unsure of which order to put these next 3 in as well, because I genuinely like all 3 of these a lot. I just like that it was definitely within the universe. Obviously, Nancy makes a reappearance in this film. But it feels like a completely new story. Like, yeah, there's are elements that are of course the same or similar to the original movie. It has new characters, a new story, and it's kind of like, like we're the last kids from Elm Street. And I like how in this film we're kind of introduced to a way on how these kids can combat Freddy and kind of like overcome them. And I feel like these characters in general are a little bit more likable, and you're just kind of really rooting for them to kind of come out on top and actually beat Freddy. Not that any of the characters in any of the other movies weren't likable and like you didn't want them also to beat Freddy, but something about these kids just like really really rooting for them. I just think it might have had to do with the way they worked together. Maybe the chemistry was really good with them, how they had their fears and like their obstacles that they had to overcome, but like they were able to do that within Freddy's world, which usually his like world is, or I guess, I mean, his world is really your world, I guess, right? And so I don't know, it kind of like takes the like, okay, yeah, you might be like in his like area where he can like potentially kill you, but it's like you can do whatever you want there, so why not be the best version of you, I guess. And just, yeah, like how they kind of used things that you might have thought as like their weaknesses as actually their strengths. And I don't know, just heartfelt, and I really like that. Okay, my next two here. I'm not sure what the reception is going to be on this, but in my number 2 spot, I actually have the original A Nightmare on Elm Street in this one. In most like lists and stuff like that, people obviously like would put the original in the number 1 spot, which I was like very conflicted on whether or not I want to do that, but I'm like actually pretty happy with my number 1 spot. Obviously, it's like it's the original, so it had to be higher up on the list. The one that created the whole like franchise in general and created the story of Freddy and like all, you know, all the kids on Elm Street. I just think the original overall did like the best job at kind of balancing the campiness and the goofiness with like the more serious kind of scary vibes in, and they just did it really well and they made it work, which the other ones kind of didn't. You know, obviously I ranted about that. I think my favorite scene in the film is when Nancy is in school and she like falls asleep and she sees Tina's body and like the body bag and like the blood trail and stuff like that. Like that's a really good one. It actually is pretty creepy. So for my number 1 spot, it actually goes to Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. I just freaking love this movie out of like all of them. I know it's like, I don't know, I guess it is a part, I mean, obviously it's a part of the universe, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, I just really freaking love this one. And obviously the story was a meta. It was like before he even did the Scream movies and he kind of perfected like that meta aspect of like horror films, I guess. The film itself wasn't like crazy scary or anything like that, but I was like legitimately like enthralled with this movie. I was entertained and engaged in the movie from beginning to end. There wasn't a moment where I was like, I'm bored, let me go on my phone, which happens a lot actually when I watch films that I'm not completely into. Like I'll start picking up my phone and like trying to like keep my mind occupied with other things because I'm just like not that entertained by what's on the screen. But this one I'm like legitimately into all of it. And I feel like this movie also brought back Freddy as to being an actual like villain monster entity and like actually made him something to be fearful of. Like I feel like he was actually a scary character again in this movie, where again, like I keep saying it, like in the latter films he was more of like a corny joke. Like I don't know, I thought he was a joke and he wasn't as scary in those ones and he was like too punny and stuff like that. But in this one he actually seemed like an evil entity again and something to fear and like make you not want to fall asleep at night again. Like, you know, I think that's it overall. I mean, like I'm conflicted about whether or not I like the franchise as a whole. I feel like I do like aspects of it. Like I do like even the latter films. Like I feel like I do like kind of like knowing about Freddy in general. And I feel like that's, they were kind of trying to develop like his kind of story a little bit more and his background. But, yeah, I think I just like a few of them. I'm not going to rewatch all of them ever, always, but I would definitely watch my top 3 to 4 or 5. But after that, I'm like, nah, I just can pretend like those ones don't even exist. That's my ranking. Let me know which one's your favorite movie out of the franchise. And yeah, I guess that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.